Switching from controller to keyboard and mouse in Fortnite feels rough. Suddenly your aim feels shaky, your builds are clunky, and you start questioning why you ever left controller. But here's the truth. Every keyboard and mouse player felt that way in the beginning, and if you stick with it and follow the right steps, you'll adapt way faster than you think. And in this video, I'll share 7 tips that make you switch smoother, help you avoid wasted time, and get you comfortable on keyboard and mouse in less than a week. And trust me, tip number 7 is the one most players never figure out. Tip number 1, and that is sensitivity and setup. One of the biggest mistakes controller players make when switching to keyboard and mouse is copying a pro sensitivity without understanding why it works. On controller, aim assist covers up a lot of bad sense choices, but on KBM, it's all you. A good starting point is setting your mouse DPI to 800 and then adjusting your in-game sense so your total eDPI lands around 32 to 36. This gives you a balance between precision and speed. This means that if it's too high, you'll overshoot every single shot, and if it's too low, you'll feel like you can't even keep up with fights. Another thing most beginners overlook is their mouse pad. If you're stuck on a tiny pad, you'll end up aiming only with your wrists, which limits your accuracy and causes strain on your wrist as well. Now, a larger mouse pad that covers your entire desk lets you use your arm for aiming, which is how 99% of pros track their aim smoothly, which is how 99% of pros track their targets smoothly. My personal advice is to start simple, stick to 1 DPI and 1 sense combo, and don't change it every 2 days. Consistency builds muscle memory, and muscle memory is the foundation of how to get insane on keyboard and mouse. Tip number 2, and that is keybinds that make sense. The default binds are awful for Fortnite, and yet a lot of beginners stick with them because they don't know what to change. The rule for binds is simple. Your most used action should be on the easiest key to reach. For building, put wall on a mouse button. If you don't have a mouse button, then use like Q or E, and then switch it around your keyboard. In my opinion though, I personally recommend getting a mouse. In my personal opinion, I recommend getting a mouse with side buttons. Every single decent player at Fortnite who plays keyboard and mouse has one. It just frees up loads of space on your keyboard and allows extra buttons on your mouse. Now for your editing bind, choose something comfortable like E or F. Don't obsess over what your favorite pros use. What matters is whether you can reach the key without stretching your finger awkwardly. And another tip is to avoid stacking too many actions on your pinky finger. A lot of players dump crouch, edit and sprint all over to shift or control and then wonder why their hand cramps. Spread the buttons out. This way you're not putting strain on your pinky finger and you can use other fingers for different binds. The final thing to remember is once you choose your binds, commit. Changing binds every week resets your muscle memory and you'll never get consistent. Pick a layout that feels decent, stick with it and let your brain adapt over time. Obviously, as we all know, keybinds is such an important thing in Fortnite and getting them right is just hands down so important. It's literally the fundamental of keyboard and mouse, and if you have bad keybinds, this is where everything can go downhill. So make yourself comfortable, find good binds and stick to them. Tip number 3, and that is to master your keybinds. Many new keyboard and mouse players make the mistake of sticking with default binds, or worse, consistently changing them every few days. And like I talked about earlier, the key to building muscle memory is consistency. Start by customizing your binds to something comfortable, and then think about your strongest fingers and which actions they need to be on. I personally recommend, like I suggested earlier, is to put them on your index finger or your middle finger, because these are the strongest 2 fingers on your hand. Once you have settled on a layout, stick with it for at least 2 weeks before making any changes or tweaks. And a mini drill to help is to open creative and do 50 edits or builds using only your new binds. Pay attention to which feels clunky, then tweak once and don't overthink it. This creative drill really helps and is what helped me at the start of switching to keyboard and mouse, and I really recommend it. Why does this matter? Muscle memory is what allows top players to build 3 to 4 structures per second without even thinking about it, and without this you'll hesitate in fights and miss critical edits. Many players also fail because they switch layouts too often, thinking they'll find the perfect setup. The reality, mastering one layout is way faster than constantly experimenting. Now trust me, I've been where you are. You want to switch your binds and it's just not the move. Pick a good set of binds, don't copy people's, just make it comfortable for you, and from there things will only go up. Your skill level, your aim, your building, your editing, it will all increase rapidly. Tip number 4, and that is sensitivity tuning. Your sensitivity settings can make or break your aim, and new keyboard and mouse players often set their DPI way too high and overcorrect, or they even do it too low and it feels sluggish. The goal is smooth control movement, not twitchy, erratic flicks. Another mini drill, spend 5 minutes in creative courses adjusting your sensitivity by tiny increments, and that is until you can consistently hit targets without it feeling weird or overstretching your hand. Test horizontal and vertical movement separately, it really helps. Why does this matter? Proper sensitivity lets you track opponents naturally while editing or building, and if it's too high, you overshoot, and if it's too low, your reactions are too slow. Remember, it's about having control first, and then speed comes with consistency. Once you find your sweet spot, don't keep changing it, stick with it for at least a few weeks. Consistency beats random tweaks. Moving on to tip number 5, and this is building fundamentals. Many beginners think spamming builds as fast as possible will make them better, but speed without structure is useless. Before worrying about edits or fancy techniques, focus focus on clean, consistent building. Learn how to place ramps, walls, and boxes properly so that each structure actually serves a purpose. Building randomly can leave gaps for enemies to exploit, which often leads to getting knocked quickly. I want you to go into creative and repeatedly build 10 ramps, 10 walls, and 5 full boxes, aiming for perfect placement every single time. Once you're comfortable, set a timer to try shaving off a second of your build time without sacrificing accuracy. Repeat this daily, gradually increasing complexity by combining structures into simple defensive setups. For instance, when you're in a 1v1, place a wall too far or a ramp at the wrong angle, and this will let your opponent shoot you through it. Beginners often panic build when they get hit, which usually worsens the situation. Practicing fundamentals builds automatic muscle memory, your hands react correctly under pressure without thinking, and over time this allows you to stack edits on top of clean builds, giving you control in fights without fumbling. Moving on to tip number 6, and this is aim and tracking. Switching to keyboard and mouse gives a huge mechanical advantage in aim, but only if you actually train both tracking and flick shots consistently. Many new players focus on flick shots only, thinking rapid target snaps are everything, but this is a huge mistake. In real matches, enemies move unpredictably, and if you can't track them smoothly while building or rotating, you'll miss shots and lose fights even if your reflexes are good. A few mini drills is to spend 10 to 15 minutes in an aim course doing flick shots only. Start slow, hitting the center of each target cleanly. Focus on accuracy first, not speed. This way you'll just get the muscle memory down and the consistency of your shots, and your aim will improve so much more. The next mini drill is to do 10 tracking exercises. You want to be doing this for 10 to 15 minutes, following moving targets with your crosshair smoothly, adjusting small hand movements instead of overcorrecting. Make this a daily habit. Your aim will improve far faster than jumping straight into random matches, and especially if you're on PC, use aim trainers like Kovacs or Aim Labs. They are so important in Fortnite and rapidly improve your aim if you have the right drill. I recommend using Mr. Savage's drill, as this obviously has all the fundamentals of Fortnite, and in my opinion is by far the best one. Imagine a close quarters fight. If you rely only on flicks, you'll miss targets, moving unpredictably while you're editing or swapping weapons, whereas tracking allows you to maintain pressure on enemies while performing other actions. Flick shots save you when an enemy suddenly peeks around the wall, and combining tracking and flick shots gives you maximum flexibility. Another common mistake is switching your aiming sensitivity way too often. Many beginners think they need the perfect sensitivity, constantly adjusting every few days, and this is not the move. Pick a sensitivity that feels comfortable for you. As I've said before, for regular sensitivity, stick with it for at least 2 weeks while practicing drills. Small tweaks are okay, but don't overthink it. An advanced tip for this is once you're consistent, combine flicks and tracking drills. For example, in an aim course, flick to a new target, then track a moving one for 5 to 10 seconds before flicking again. This mimics real fights and forces your brain to coordinate rapid changes in movement, and over time your aim becomes automatic under pressure, letting you react instantly rather than panic. Good aim isn't just about speed alone, it's about control, awareness, and adaptability. High-level players combine clean tracking, quick flicks, and mental prediction of enemy movement. If you practice consistently, even for 20 to 30 minutes a day, you'll see massive improvement within weeks. Moving on to tip number 7, and this is game sense and awareness. Keyboard and mouse improves your speed and precision, but mechanical skill alone won't win fights. Game sense and awareness are just as important, if not more, and many beginners overcommit to fights, rotate poorly, or fail to read enemy intentions, losing games even with perfect aim and builds. Developing awareness means knowing when to engage, when to rotate, and how to predict enemy actions. The best thing to do is to record your matches and review them. Look at rotations, positioning, high ground decisions, and loot timing. Ask yourself questions like, could I have rotated earlier? Was I in a vulnerable spot? Did I overbuild or underbuild in fights? Write notes and apply them next match. Doing this repeatedly develops your intuition for future games. It's very important. You also want to focus on map awareness. Watch storm timers, loot spots, and enemy positions, and try predicting rotations in each game. Awareness isn't just reaction, it's also anticipation. Now, an example of this, imagine if you have perfect aim and fast builds, but really poor awareness. You push an enemy thinking you have the advantage, but you're in the wrong position. Suddenly, another squad rotates behind you, and you get knocked instantly. Awareness would have prevented that by telling you to wait, rotate, or secure high ground fast. An advanced tip is top players constantly scan environments, track enemy movement, and control engagement timing. They also use sound cues, teammate positioning, and even past experience with common landing spots to make split-second decisions. Beginners ignore these things, thinking raw skill is enough, but real skill is knowing when and how to apply your mechanics. Game sense also reduces stress and mistakes. Knowing the safe play, the high ground advantage, and smart rotation paths keep you calm under pressure. Over time, combining keyboard and mouse mechanics with awareness makes you both faster and smarter. You'll notice fights become easier with rates rise and clutch plays happen naturally. Awareness amplifies every other kill you learn, from aim to building to editing. Alright, that's it for the 7 tips on switching from controller to keyboard and mouse. And remember, None of this happens overnight, this is a process. And improvement comes from consistent practice, reflection, and patience. Pick 1 or 2 drills from today's tips and commit to them for the next week. If you follow these tips, practice deliberately, and keep a positive mindset, you're going to see serious progress. Apply what you've learned, keep grinding, stay focused, and I'll see you in the next video.